The typical passport bro is going to absolutely hate Poland, specifically Warsaw. And I'm going to share with you why that is here in a moment. But first, smash like button, costs you nothing, means the world to me, really helps me out with the algorithm. Now, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. In this video, we are obviously going to touch on the topic I previously mentioned. So let's go ahead and dive into some of these reasons. Now, for the purpose of this video, we kind of need to come to an agreement, if you will, of what a passport bro actually is. And so for the purpose of the title of this video, at least, I'm talking about the guy who tends to just travel to a country to have kind of an open air brothel looking for really inexpensive places to go and obviously do some degenerate type things. Now, that is not me. I don't know who's watching this video. Hopefully that is not you, because that is kind of a sad way to live your life. And one reason I want to not necessarily separate myself from that community, but I want to make clear what it is that I'm about. I'm not about traveling and treating a place like an open air brothel and just using these women and tossing them to the side. That is not what I'm for. I think the original definition of a passport bro that I had originally seen was someone who simply has the financial means to move to a different place for a variety of different reasons, but one of those reasons to find a higher quality woman for a relationship. Now, in this community, it has gone a little diluted or clouded, should I say, about what the actual meaning is. And so I want to clarify that if you are in the first group, where you are going to a place just to treat it like an open air brothel, not really interested in building relationships or even providing value to society, that is what this video is about. And so I think this video will be probably helpful to both people, but here are some things that I would say in regards to Poland, specifically Warsaw. So first and foremost, let's just get this one out of the way. It's not like bottom of the barrel, super cheap. I think there is a lot of value to be had here, but you aren't going to get like Philippines prices or Colombian prices or even Brazil prices here in Warsaw, and probably in other parts of Poland as well. Like, they have a pretty solid economy. The average person makes more than the average person in Colombia, Philippines, so on and so forth. And so you really aren't going to have those bottom of the barrel prices. Another thing that I should add is because there is more money, if you do choose to partake in P for P, it isn't going to be $10 or whatever the hell it costs in Medellin or whatever, maybe $100, I don't know. Probably going to be pushing $1,000. Like I said, I don't partake in that myself, so I couldn't give you actual factual numbers on that stuff. But since things cost more money here and they can earn more money, obviously prices are going to be higher. I mean, I do know some people who have engaged in that area of the marketplace, and they are saying it is pretty much around Dubai prices. So that is one thing to be very aware of. That also means you are probably going to have to make more money than if you were interested in places like the Philippines or Colombia, because your money, while it goes further than it would in other Western countries, not going to go as far as those places. And personally, that's something that I like. That's another reason I have no problem talking about Poland on my channel, because I know a lot of the people who are interested in the degenerate stuff don't have the money to fly over here. And another thing that I should also point out on this topic is that it is obviously harder to access a place like Poland than a place like Brazil or Colombia, because it's just a longer flight, more expensive flight, so on and so forth. So it definitely takes more money to get to a place like this. And then that kind of leads me to the next thing. It's not an open air brothel. There are plenty of at least decent jobs in a place, especially like in a city like Warsaw. It's a major city. So there are plenty of decent jobs to be had. So it's not going to be like that open air brothel where pretty much any girl in Medellin is available for a certain price. Let's be honest about it. Okay? And Philippines, kind of the same thing, especially if you're a foreigner. I mean, that's another thing. The foreigner factor, well, maybe we'll talk about that here later on. But not an open air brothel here. Another thing that I like, and that also relates to a few other things that we probably won't touch on in this video. I mean, the level of education here is higher, so in general, it's easier for Polish women to get jobs because they have, you know, some level of postgraduate education or whatever you want to call it. Like, a lot of women here have at least master's degrees, or are working towards like medical degrees or some other advanced degrees as well. And so that's another thing that separates the women here apart. And I should also mention that they are a little bit more high quality because of some of the things that the culture has instilled within them. So a lot of them, even if like their last resort was to engage in that behavior, they wouldn't necessarily jump straight into it. And I don't really want to get into that for the topic of this video, but there is kind of a societal block there. Whereas in a place like Colombia, it's kind of just like, oh, you do blah, blah, blah. Okay, I understand, because, you know, let's say 80% of women do it there. Here, it's probably, I don't know. I'll just make up a number. Don't quote me on this. 10%. And those 10% that do it probably aren't going to tell their friends. And if they did tell their friends would probably look at them a certain way and probably wouldn't be nearly as accepting as other places. And so most of this just like boils down to passport bros really aren't going to flood into a place like this. Oh, another thing that I should mention before I wrap up this video is you need to build time. You need to spend time here, build roots, build connections, build relationships in order to have a high level of success in a place like this. So you aren't just going to step off the plane like you could in a place like Colombia and go to Parque Yeris and start throwing money around and, you know, bring someone back that night. Really not going to be happening in a place like Poland. So that's another barrier for the passport bro lifestyle, where you're going to actually have to spend time in a place like this, where you can go to Colombia pretty quickly and easily, spend a weekend there, blow a little bit of money, and, you know, get your rocks off, or whatever you want to call it. Whereas in Poland, if you come here for a weekend, probably not gonna have quite the experience that you were hoping to have if you were trying to live that Medellin, Colombia, Cartagena type lifestyle. So that is why I think the standard passport bro, which I shouldn't even say standard because I am still like so confused on what the typical passport bro is. I think it's more the guy who goes to a place, builds connections, is interested in residency, interested in getting to know the culture, experiencing the culture. I mean, that's why I was showing you guys some of the history and talking to you guys about some of the history in a place like Poland, because it has a really interesting and complicated history. So I have talked about taxes and residencies, because those are the people that I want to talk to on my channel. The people who are interested in not just using women and then throwing them away and going back and lying about what they're doing and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, to wrap up this video, most passport bros that don't fit into what I just said are going to hate a place like this, because you need to be able to spend time. It takes a little bit more money. It takes more effort. It's not an open air brothel. And women really aren't just going to like bow down at your feet because you have an American passport or because you have American dollars. I mean, they have access to Western Europeans who have euros. They have access to all sorts of other people. So there's not a ton of shine to be had. Whereas, you know, pretty much everything I just said is the opposite in the standard places like Philippines, Colombia, Brazil, even Thailand, and and what else is there? The DR, of course. So yeah, with all that said, if all the things I said in this video are what you're looking for, then you probably shouldn't come here. But if you're interested in building roots, spending time, putting effort in, giving back to the community, not necessarily, you know, like volunteer work, but like actually putting your roots in here, investing the time and knowledge into maybe learning the language or learning the culture or investing so that you can get residency, then this would be a great place for you and you wouldn't hate it at all. But like I said, really depends on which group you fit into. Now, if you have any experience in a place like Warsaw, Poland, comment down below and let me know if I got anything wrong, because I did see some guy who said people are coming here and treating it like an open air brothel, and I was like, what? I don't know what an open air brothel looks like to you, but it is certainly not this. I mean, go to Colombia, excuse me, and you'll see what an open air brothel looks like. And even certain streets in the Philippines and Thailand and the DR and all over, like, this is not even close. But I do think he has a point where there are probably a lot of men who just come here and trying to get their rocks off and, you know, use Polish girls and discard them through devious methods. All right, so smash the like button if you haven't already. And that is going to wrap up this video. Thank you for watching. I truly appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next video. And as always, peace, much love.